Liberace and the Nuns of St. Francis. Story 136, Part 1. One day, not long ago, Paul and I had several errands to run. When we got home and out of the car, we could hear a terrible racket coming from inside the house. Opening the front door, we could see Bubba Doo, the faithful and under-your-feet wiener dog, wearing a sequin jacket and attempting to play the piano. The Sisters of St. Oscar of Myers surrounded him, gazing adoringly at him. When the nuns spotted me, they started growling and baring their teeth. They have never forgiven me for the time I asked them how one fixes a broken musical instrument with a tuba glue. I asked Bubba what he was doing. He barked that he had a story to tell the nuns about the time Liberace almost died in Pittsburgh and how he forged a friendship with the nuns of St. Francis. He asked if we wanted to hear the story too. We both sat down, although the nuns kept giving me the side eye. Bubba barked that Liberace was in Pittsburgh on Friday, November 22nd, 1963. That night, he was scheduled to perform at the Holiday House in Monroeville. He was booked for the next 16 days. Around 12:30 that afternoon, shots rang out in Dallas, Texas, killing the 35th President of the United States, John F. Kennedy. That night, Pittsburgh's theaters and nightclubs closed in honor of Kennedy's memory. Liberace gave his staff the night off, while he stayed in his hotel room and decided to clean the glittering costumes he was famous for. He was born May 16, 1919, in West Allis, Wisconsin, just outside Milwaukee. His father was Italian and his mother Polish. His family called him Walter, while later his friends would call him Lee. By age 4, he was playing the piano, and at age 20, he was performing at the Pabst Theater in Milwaukee as a member of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. As he began to perform independently, he first wore a white tie and tail to be seen clearly in the large theaters. By 1945, he was placing a candelabra on his piano. In 1954, at Madison Square Garden in New York, he made the equivalent of $1,500,000 for one performance. Liberace became one of the highest-paid performers in the world. Bubba continued that the Holiday House was located on William Penn Highway, 13 miles east of downtown Pittsburgh, in Monroeville. It had a supper club, popular after World War II, that seated almost 1,000 people for dinner and a show. There were 2 shows, one at 8 p.m. and one at 10. A 160-room hotel was also there. Stars such as Milton Berle, Connie Francis, Tony Bennett, Phyllis Diller, and yes, Liberace were just many who performed there over the years. In 1962, over 150,000 people visited the Holiday House for shows, banquets, bar mitzvahs, meetings, proms, etc. But the writing was already on the wall as Liberace came to perform, that the day of the supper club was drawing to a close. And so, as Americans mourned the death of President Kennedy, Liberace sat in his hotel room cleaning his costumes. Some have speculated that he used a product sold in stores called Carbona cleaning fluid, a close relative of dry cleaning solvent. The fluid was used to remove stains and grease. It was non-flammable, but years later it was discovered to cause cancer. Even in 1963, it was known that short-term exposure could cause damage to the kidneys and liver. Liberace later admitted he should have left a window open, and that a staff member had entered the room and asked him how he could stand the smell of the cleaner. The following night, the theaters and supper clubs in western Pennsylvania reopened. Mr. Showmanship took the stage wearing a glittering gold jacket. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reported that it was a standing room only crowd, and the lobby was packed with people hoping they could get at least a glimpse of the performer. He began the show by performing 3 songs from West Side Story. Then he told his cheering audience, quote, "I am going to change into something even more spectacular." End of part 1.